let's talk two-handed axes.
Oh! Oh! I got down, you got.
Last weekend, we had the Australian national titles. Hello, Tommen. A big takeaway from that tournament was I tried a heavier two-handed axe. I usually went for like a 1.7 kilo axe. This axe that I used, the axe head made by Hammer and Scale, and I just put it on a longer haft. Weighed about 2.3 kilos, which is the top end of the weight of a long axe. And it is 1.2 meters long, roughly coming up to my sternum, which is a good indicator for anyone that wants to use a poleaxe. Go for your sternum length. Yeah, so I went for a 2.3 kilo two-handed axe, which is heavy. If you haven't swung an axe that much before, it gets very heavy after a couple swings after running around a few Buhurt rounds. So I went for a heavy axe and it was the best thing I have done, and I will probably try and go the max weight for the next tournament by adding some metal to the haft, or yeah, just making it heavier. And the reason why it was amazing, I halved the amount of striking it did because of how heavy it was, and I was able to drop my targets or hit my targets in a way where they moved and my teammates could get a throw off because they were worrying about getting hit with an axe rather than the person they were wrestling with. Which is the first tip of the day, is picking your targets when hitting. When you're hitting someone, obviously you don't want to be going for their face and you don't want to be going for anywhere illegal like groins or back of the knees. And for me personally, I don't like to hit people where I could potentially break them. So in the collarbone, I've broken my collarbone myself, and I have accidentally broken other people's collarbones with axe. So I avoid hitting high up on the chest. I aim for the rib cages, the backs, or the stomach. The stomach is a good shot because it will wind your opponent, but give them a few minutes and they'll stand back up and be able to fight the next round, which happened versus the Risen Beast. So I think I had a bit of maturity with hitting people, as I can hit very hard, but I definitely pick my targets much more wisely now because I'm not there to injure anyone. I definitely don't want to injure anyone. I'm there to hurt people for pain compliance, like get them to the ground or get a throw off them, but I definitely don't want to injure anyone. That's not what I like. I don't like the feeling of it, and I definitely don't like being injured. So the more I can spread that out to the community, hopefully there'll be less injuries with people swinging axes. So yes, use a heavier axe, and the axe height for a good person is your sternum. Mine's a bit lower than my sternum, but this is a very good size for me. Obviously, if you're taller than me, which most of you probably are, it'll probably be up to around my chin, so a bit too tall for me. So let's go into some technique with swinging. Warm-up technique I like to do with my axe. I bring my hands like this, I bring them to the center, and I switch the axe head to the other side. Once again, all you're doing is you bring your hands together, and you're flipping it like this, like the bow staff, Joe staff warm up, but you do it with your axe. Even better way is to do it with your gauntlets on or in armor. When I'm swinging an axe, there's two things that you need to know about. First one is how you hold your axe. When you go a long axe to your sternum, you don't want to be baseball swinging your axe because you cannot control it. That's how people get injured, how you get carded, and how you get off. But also, if you don't worry about those things, if you're swinging like this, it's very hard to get your axe back for a second swing. You want to be able to hit and hit again and hit again. You want to be able to do that quickly and efficiently, so the person you're hitting goes down quickly, or the person you're hitting stops wrestling your teammate. So then they get a rest and you get a rest. First one is your hand position. Like I was saying before, bad. I go roughly 30 centimeters apart from my hands. You can go higher, but I wouldn't go any lower. When you're striking, you want to strike through your target. You don't want to strike your target. So when I mean strike through your target and not strike your target, so say you're the target, you don't want to be stopping right there. You want to stop over here through your target. So you're aiming through the target, you are going to get that hip movement and you're going to get that power going through your target. If you're stopping at your target, you're not going to get that power. You're not going to get that little spicy grunt that you want from your opponent. When you come to your pel, once again, if you want a pel, I've got a pel making video, which I'll try to add into the link, or I'll add up somewhere here. When you're striking, you want your non-master leg forward. So if you're swinging with your left hand on the bottom, your left foot will be forward. So when I'm striking, the money maker is this bottom hand. This bottom hand will be pulling the axe, pulling down, and my hip will be pushing forward. Boom, coming through. Now when I'm striking, I'm always scanning on every chop. And not only am I scanning, I am bringing that weapon back up to my shoulder to strike again. And the reason why I do that is if I strike and I scan and they quickly come at me, I'll quickly need to get them down again, I can quickly shoot my axe back through. But if I strike and look around like here, it's gonna take more time. Might not be that much time, but it could be the difference between you getting another strike off or someone closing the distance before you get your shot off. So once you're scanning, you should be cocking your weapon.
He needs to do that. That's exactly what he needs to do. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You should always be doing something with your poleaxe. When you're fighting another axe fighter, you never want to strike the middle of their haft. Unless you know you're going to break it, you can do it, but I will always aim for the top part or the bottom part. So if their hand is here, you want to aim for that part of their axe. Or if they've got their hands up here, like spread like this, a bit of a spready, you want to hit on top. Never really want to hit the middle. There's a high percent chance you're not going to break it. The best bet is to hit the bottom part. When you're checking with an axe, I haven't done a lot of successful checks this season, but here we go, here's some tips anyway. When you're checking with an axe, you don't want to just drive through like that. There's two things you want to do. First thing you want to do is you want to come up, and when you're charging, you kind of want to stop, boom, boom, you want to stop and push up. You can get under the armpit or the chest and push up. You want to stop, boom, boom, like that, and stop. Because if you're just coming like this, there's a large possibility that they can throw you or you're going to go down with them. But if you stop and push up, you get their center of gravity off the ground and hopefully tumble over. Another thing that I was taught or overheard the Kinyas fighter, Andrew McCabe, well, I didn't hear it, actually Jake heard it, is what they like to practice. When they're checking someone, they like to get a foot in before they check. So they have that little bit of something in before they check. So they come in and they can either check, boom, and they step around and do a cheeky little leg toss while checking. I don't think they come in and just check straight away, which is very cool. But I've always checked, boom, boom, stop, under the armpit and push. But there's nothing stopping you from stopping, pushing through and stepping through. But that pause, stop, press up, definitely gonna make it less likely for you to fall over with your target, and also pushes all that force into your opponent. So my biggest tips for beginners going into the poleaxe, I would give yourself a year of fighting with a sword and a shield just to figure out how to move with armor on, how to use weapons and shields. Because I guess a poleaxe is like a specialty, like a special weapon. It's like a specialty. Because your whole life you're used to doing things with your hands separated, like I'm gonna drink my coffee here, I'm gonna smoke my cigarette with this hand, you know, doing things separate from each other. But once you got an axe, you need to think about two hands together 50% of the time, and then when you're into the grapple, you need to worry about one hand with a big stick in the hand and using the other one independently, and if not by itself. So that would be one of my biggest tips. As well as if you are a poleaxe fighter and you are there to strike, I would keep away from grindy wrestles. My team, Team Kraken, is a team full of wrestlers, full of grindy list wrestlers. I don't need to be a grindy list wrestler. I'm there to strike. So if someone closes in on me, I'm going to neutralize them by putting my elbow into their armpit and keeping them off me and saving my energy. So hopefully, if my team has got the advantage, it gives me time to scan the field and get out if I can and use my axe, or gives my team time to finish their wrestles, come over and get me out, and I can use my axe. Because if I'm too tired to use my axe, there's no point in bringing this. If you're not using this axe to hurt people or pain submit them, you know, there's no point in having it. There's no point in having it at all. Stick to your sword and shield and stick to wrestling. But with a poleaxe in Buhurt, your main job is damage, DPS, damage dealer. So you need to save your energy so you can use this axe. You need to use this. And I guarantee it, your wrestling mates in your team may be working a little bit harder than you, but if they're wrestling someone and they hear you thump into someone and they fall down, that saves them. That saves them from wrestling longer. It's an easy kill and they're probably thinking, thank God that guy's gone down. I didn't have to do anything. So from you getting away from the grapples, saving your energy to use your axe, you're helping your team. And once again, there's different positions in the sport for a reason. So if you're a striker, save your energy for striking, get good at striking. If you cannot swing an axe hard or swing it properly, I would recommend keeping it sword and shield, so you can use your shield to defend people from two-handed strikes, and be a good grappler, you know, and run around and grapple with your sword and shield. Because once you've got a poleaxe, your one job is to hurt the other people. It hits people. Once again, I got a team full of wrestlers. I don't need to be a wrestler. To toot my own horn, I'm probably a better wrestler than I am striker, but the whole team is a great wrestler. But we needed someone to deal out some damage, so that's why I took the role. I also like hitting people and I love axes. I just find it more fun and the training's harder. But yes, know your role, stick to your role. If you try and do everything, I'm gonna be a striker and a good wrestler, which, like, I'm not saying don't do that. Like, I think of myself as quite a good wrestler, but you know, I save my energy to hit people. It's easy to hit people to drop them than wrestle them for 30 to 40 seconds to get them down. Hitting, once that axe hits, it's like a second or two and they're down, or you just hit them again and hopefully you get them down. But yes, those are my Buhurt two-handed axe techniques. I hope you enjoyed them. Please like and subscribe. I'll be having more wrestling tutorials. Now that I'm back from overseas, I'll be doing shooting tutorials on how to shoot guns and stuff and see how effective it is shooting guns in my armor. I'll be doing zombie apocalypse videos to see how good medieval armor is in zombie apocalypse. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. Stay deadly, like and subscribe. And I'm nearly at that 100K team, so thank you so much. Stay deadly.
Push the notification bell.